Historians of the Attleboro area had an opportunity to remember a well-known Attleboro artist. The Historical Preservation Society held their monthly meeting at the Attleboro Area Industrial Museum last week with a presentation on the late Barbara Corrigan. Often compared with artist Grandma Moses, Barbara painted a number of works featuring well-known places in Massachusetts, including in Attleboro. The presentation was given by friend Melissa Riley to celebrate her life and work. DoubleACS was there to cover the event, and we spoke with Ms. Riley to find out more about Barbara Corrigan and her importance to Attleboro's history.
I'm here tonight at the Attleboro Historic Preservation Society meeting, and I'm honored to have come and do a presentation about my friend Barbara Corrigan, who is a very well-known local artist. Barbara was part of the Attleboro High School class of 1940. She was lucky enough to get an art scholarship from the Attleboro Arts Museum. She attended and graduated from Mass College of Art, and she had a lifelong career in art. People know her in Attleboro for her cards, which were reproductions of her paintings. She painted a lot of paintings of simpler times, simpler, happy times, times in the early 1900s. She liked cultural activities, holidays. Over the course of her career, she painted over 300 paintings. Many of them were commissions by prestigious Bostonians who wanted their homes to be painted by her. She did freelance work. One of her paintings was published as a cover for YANKEE magazine, and 15 paintings were covers for the Highlights magazine for children. She did commissions for New Balance sneakers, Massachusetts General Hospital, the National Kidney Foundation of Singapore, to just name a few. She compared herself a little bit to Grandma Moses, but Barbara was a much better artist than Grandma Moses in that she was a trained artist. Barbara was well trained in her artistic skills. She knew the rules of perspective, and she chose to ignore them. For example, Barbara's paintings are filled with details, filled with activities. In order for her to include all of these details, instead of having objects in the front telling the stories, her objects go, even in the backgrounds, the details are great. Where the rule of perspective says, the further into the background of a painting you go, the less details you see. Her details are consistent throughout. Her colors are vibrant throughout her paintings, where the rule of perspective calls for the colors in the background to become dull, the colors in the foreground to be brighter. She ignores that. Everything is bright for her. She places equal importance on everything within her picture. Size, the rules of perspective says the farther in the background you get, the smaller the objects appear. But for her, the objects in the back are as important as those in the front. So they are the same size. I met Barbara in the 80s when I invited her to come to Hyman Fine Elementary School to exhibit her work for the children there. We became Christmas card friends over the next 20 years or so. It wasn't until the fall of 2010 that I realized that she was alone in this world, and pretty disabled, being both deaf and blind. She passed away in January 2012 at the age of 89. So when I came back into her life, I became her weekly friend for a while, helping her with her shopping, doctor's appointments, and things like that. But as she became more disabled, I was with her pretty much every day. She literally died alone, with the exception of our agent, Al Walker, who unfortunately lives out of state and wasn't able to be with her. Barbara certainly is a treasure of Attleboro. The people who came to the presentation tonight, most of the people who came knew of her. They purchased her cards. I think if you took a house tour in Attleboro, you'd find many houses that have her original work in their houses. It was an honor for me to get to know Barbara. She's tremendously impressive and an inspiration to anyone who, wants to make their way in the world. And she was an exception. She was, for her time, she was early for her time. She was an entrepreneur, and she worked out ways to make it work.